Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Sunday services at Center for Spiritual Living, Denver. We are a loving and prospering community in the heart of Denver and online. We now conduct hybrid services at the historic Grant Avenue Community Center and Sacred Place, located at 216 South Grant Street, Denver, Colorado. All are welcomed here. A place, space, and face of love. We are a spiritual community practicing universal principles that enrich our lives. We are grateful that you have blessed us with your presence. While online, we'd love to know you're watching with us. Feel free to leave a comment and let everyone appreciate you. With everything going on, life can feel overwhelming. CSL Denver wants you to know we are here for you. Please know that our practitioners are available for personal prayer work. Our licensed spiritual practitioners' names and phone numbers are available on our website at csldenver.org. Or if you have a prayer request, feel free to email it to info@csldenver.org. For your convenience, you'll find clickable links in the description of this broadcast. Rev Elzia, along with all our guest speakers, practitioners, service coordinators, and musical inspirations, want you to know how truly grateful we are that you are with us today. Thank you for your continued support and participation in our services, workshops, and events, as well as providing financial contributions to our center. If you're interested in upcoming events and information, we send out weekly newsletters. Sign up by visiting www.csldenver.org. We deliver services in a hybrid format where we meet in person at 216 South Grant Street. We will also continue to live stream all services on Facebook and YouTube every Sunday. Find us on our respective channels as well as on New Thought Media Network. Again, thank you for your precious attention. Now prepare for engaging enlightenment.
There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. this place of light and love. You can't have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Beautiful morning. It's really nice out there today. I'm Bill Carlton, a practitioner here at CSL Denver. I invite you to gently close your eyes and be in that presence. Take a deep breath and release all the negative emotions. Just be here in this beautiful world. We feel that oneness of God surrounding all of us, leading us to embrace the imperfections in our lives. We know that oneness is present in the message we receive, the music we hear, and the technical support of Reverend Elzia and Diego, our producer. I know each and every one participating and attending this service is blessed. I'm grateful and give thanks for all that has brought us here at this moment as we release these words to the universe, knowing that they return to us tenfold, and so it is. Enriching our soul of possibilities. When we believe in our own worthiness and abundance that surrounds us, we attract more positive experiences and opportunities into our lives. Change is constant all around us. The world can feel like a sea of constant changing tides. Eugene Holden says, he's a practitioner, be willing to let go of what no longer serves. I am destined for greatness. I let go of everything that does not serve my greatness, my greatest good. I let go into the magnificent life I was created to live. A quote from Michel Bladeau states that as long as you're living, you get another chance tomorrow. If need be, you can apologize. Through it all, you can learn lessons that support the bravery needed for effective communications. And from the Science of Mind, Guide for Spiritual Living, written by Jeffron Seeley, yet it is those very experiences that make you so incredible. Those experiences act as the fertilizer that helps us grow into our potential. As we know, the best fertilizer is the waste most people don't want. This challenges and waste often can, in truth, become powerful nutrients for growth. And now, sit back and enjoy a bit of music by Bob Sima. Thank you.
Under your feet is the greenest grass, strongest roots watered from your past, hallowed ground where you were lost, you were found. With every step and every turn, a worn down path from the lessons you learned, soles of your feet, earth so sweet. Behind you now, put your hands up in the dirt, turning it over and over and over again. And they say don't look back, it's not where you're going, the road in front, that's where you're growing. But sometimes in your mind, you wanna go there. You could look back, but just don't stand. Own your truth and claim your worth and bless your past. It could have been worse, but don't give it more than a glance, 'cause you are so much more. You are more than the dreams that never came true, more than the doors that closed on you, more than the hearts that tried to break yours too. Put your hands are in the dirt, turning it over and over and over again. And if they don't look back, it's not where you're going, the road in front, that's where you're growing. But sometimes in your mind, you wanna go there. You can look back, but just don't stare. Just don't stare. Well, these years go by, but they don't matter, because here and now is the sleep of your power. Staring back at the wake has never made a ship go anywhere. And they say don't look back, it's not where you're going, the road in front, that's where you're growing. But sometimes in your mind, you wanna go there. You can look back, but just don't stare. Just don't stare. Just don't
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I trust everyone is doing well, and I just want to take a moment for the audience that's online. Someone said that they couldn't hear, and I want to make sure you hear, because the Lord is moving this morning. And so if you could just give a sign in the chat on the Facebook or YouTube. I just want to honor that and everybody that's there for their time and everything. So again, good morning. I am overjoyed to be here this morning. I've been away for, I don't know, 3 weeks or so, here and about, doing all kinds of things, taking care of life, as they say. But the first thing I want you to know, first and foremost, that this is a space, a place, and a face of love. A spiritual community using ancient principles and teaching universal wisdom to empower our lives and the lives of others. Now, today we start a new journey, a new vibration, a new frequency. As you look around outside, no matter where you are, if it's a storm or if it's a sunshine, we feel the energy of spring, the energy of renewal, the energy of allowing life to be exactly what it is: expansive, renewing, uplifting. And when we can tap into that, life is grand. And so before we start, if we could just all take one moment to invoke the spirit of the divine. Beloved Spirit, source of all creation, we gather in this sacred place of unity and purpose. Let us now take a moment to breathe deeply, to quiet the mind, and to open the heart as we turn inward. Divine Spirit, we acknowledge your presence within us and all around us, acknowledging that you are the soil for all possibilities. In this moment, we release all things that hinder us from reaching and realizing the infinite potential that is already us. We affirm that our consciousness is fertile ground, ready to enrich with faith, wisdom, and inspiration. Knowing that all things are possible and every dream is attainable, we ask you for your courage to change, for your courage to be renewed, to follow the inner light that aligns us with the flow of life. In gratitude, we listen, we trust, and we obey the very word of the divine mind of God. And so it is. Amen. And so today we start a new theme for the month: cultivating your future. Cultivating your future. And today we're going to look at the very foundation of any cultivation in that soil. So we're going to find out how to enrich the soils of possibility. Enrich the soils of possibility. Now, I want to start with a story. There was this ancient story where a traveler, much like us, was taking a road and came across an ancient garden filled with all delights, flowers and fruits and all manner of things. And when he passed the garden, he saw an old gardener. And he looked at the garden and said, I want my garden to be just like that. So he goes over, he talks to the old gardener and asks him, how do I get my garden to look like your garden? What do I need to do? And the old gardener sat there for a while, and as old ancient masters do, they just sit there and look at you, look at them. Trying to ask to themselves, why did they ask that question? Have they not been paying attention? And so after a while, he raised his head and he said, life is like a garden, and garden is like a life. So if you want to cultivate a garden that's filled with all the lights, bees and birds and flowers and fruits and vegetables, you must first plant seeds of truth. Once you've planted seeds of truth, then you must water it with wisdom and patience. And in due time, the sun will come out and it will radiate inspiration, life itself, to begin to unfold. So as we begin to look at what it takes to grow this kind of life, this kind of garden, if you will, Ernest Holmes was masterful in his seed soil plant description of life, description of unfolding, description of becoming, because it is in that idea we begin to learn. Now, I don't know how many of you come from farms or like gardening or any of that kind of stuff, but now's the time. If you don't do it now, now's the time, right? As they say in the South, the sap is rising. The sap is rising. So right now is when it's at its sweetest. And so when we cultivate land, when we cultivate the ideas of possibility, the first thing that we have to do, the first thing that we must give over to is examination. We have to examine the soil to make sure it's good soil. We have to examine the seeds to make sure the seeds are ready. Sometimes we even grow seedlings, and these are ideas we plant in our mind about how we can overcome a challenge, how we can get rid of a habit, how we can call on the mind of God to move. Ernest Holmes says it's all mind. In ancient Egypt, they say it's all mental. Because if you can't see it, and seeing it is just another word for feeling, tasting, imagining, conjuring, dreaming, anything that creates an image in your mind of what's possible. All dreams are attainable. If you can see it, you can believe it, you can make it happen. And that's what this month, we're going to be looking at how do we cultivate the spirit. Because right now, whether you know it or not, now is most definitely the time. And I'm going to leave that where it lies for you to understand what we are dealing with right now in terms of cultivating spirit. So I want to show this first slide. This is by Seneca the Younger. He was a Roman philosopher. And he said, as the soil, however rich it may be, cannot be productive without cultivation, so the mind without culture can never produce good fruit. You see, in ancient times, there was this idea of as above, so below, as within, so without. That got translated into the law of correspondence, which we use to understand. That's exactly what this is. There are a million metaphors to say, if you don't cultivate nothing within, there's nothing coming out. Ernest Holmes said, if you plant tomatoes, you get tomatoes. If you are not willing to cultivate your life, I don't care what situations you are, I don't care where you might be, it ain't working. I've never planted a garden without seeds. Never. And even though weeds may come up, if I don't plant nothing, somebody put the weed there. Might be you, might be me, I don't know. Somebody did it. Somebody put ideas in our minds to keep our seeds from germinating, from taking root. But, you know, one of the things that took me away from the community for a couple of weeks was a relative of mine died, cousin. And he was an agronomist. Now, I don't know if some of y'all are country folk like me, agronomist is just a soil scientist, the county agent, right? If you ever used to watch some of them old shows, they had the county agent would come by. That's the person who understands the soil, who understands the makeup of life, who understands what's in and what's out. And you can tell them what you want to grow, and they'll sample the soil and they'll tell you, well, you can't grow that here unless you do this, right? You have to augment that soil as an agronomist. And so I went to see the homegoing of my cousin, who I called my uncle, because without him, I would not be physically. My mother was in Ohio working in a factory, and he was getting ready to go to college, and he had just got out of service. He called my mom and said, "Cuz, I'm getting ready to go to college. Why don't you come go with me?" She listened. She came, met my father, and a bunch of years later, here I am. A magical miracle of growth, right? But the thing I want to really point out is, and I knew this, but I had forgotten it until I went to the homegoing service. He was a master of the soil. He worked at a research position at University in Virginia, and he was the first Black soil scientist below the Mason-Dixon line. Now, if you know anything about history, if you don't, go look up what Mason-Dixon line is and see where that gets you. He was also the first Black to work in soil science in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. And that's just a short list of his accomplishments of understanding the soil, understanding your consciousness, understanding your environment, understanding what it is you're trying to grow so that you can be successful. As we said in the invocation, there are no dreams that are not attainable. Somebody said, if you can see it, you can believe it, it can happen. If you believe it, you can see it, not the other way around. I don't need to see it to make it happen. When you plant the seed, you trust somebody who gave you the seed, that just an apple seed or a tomato seed or a peach seed. Well, peach seed might be a little different, I guess, right? That's pretty substantial. But we have to begin to understand that we are agronomists. Now, that's homework for everybody, to go look up what agronomy is and look up what an agronomist does and figure out what you need to do with that with your life. Springtime. Life is about to burst forth. If you haven't seen it burst forth yet, just give it a couple of days. It's going to burst forth and you're going to be in awe. So when we begin to understand what it is to cultivate your future, to cultivate your life, to tap into the mind of God, this is what you got to do. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. So, there's this idea when you deal with soil, there's a couple of things you have to do. You got to, first, when you plant a garden, you got to clear the area. You got to clear the area because during the winter, who knows what might have happened. Some, mold may have been digging in the ground, sand got blown away. You got to look at and clean that area and get it ready for growth. That's your mind. That's your consciousness. That's your behavior. That's the way you really want to present yourself in the life of God, your persona. We did a thing on sacred astrology not too long ago, and we talked about Jung, and one of my community members is Stella on astrology. I love her to death. She's giving me my chart, but we'll get to that later as well, because what we're really trying to say is that life is whole. When we look at ancient wisdom, we look at the cultivating of the Nile, the cultivating of the Euphrates Valley. All of that took place by understanding the alignment of the universe, the stars, cultivation. So they had to clear the land. They had to clear their mind and figure out what was going on. And when they did that, here's the hard part. You got to loosen up that soil because it's compacted now. That's, you got to till the soil. You got to shovel it up. You got to dig it up. We got to get rid of all the old stuff that's compacted in our minds, that compacted in our lives, so that we can begin to grow. Like here in Colorado, we have this thing called bentonite. And bentonite, I don't know the exact mathematics on it, but one small amount of bentonite can hold a tremendous amount of water, like, I don't know, 100,000 times it really, I don't know, but it's a lot. But if I'm trying to grow something, I have something so dense, so powerful to suck the life out as a speck of bentonite, you got to get to work. If you don't get that bentonite out, nothing's growing. if you don't get those hard, stale ideas, thoughts, behaviors, if you don't get those out of your mind, your garden is not going to grow. Your life is not going to grow. Period. So you loosen the soil. And then as Bill made reference to earlier, well, I guess before we do that, we have to test the soil. That's this thing, we all know about it as we begin to become mature statesmen on this road. We have to figure out the pH balance of our lives. I'm sure everybody, if you had some blood work done or any kind of work determining your health, somebody may have told you about your pH balance. And if they haven't, ask them. Because that is the balance of the electrochemical system that keeps us alive. And that's what we're doing when we're growing a garden in our minds. It's the same thing. As above, so below. As below, so above. There is no separation. That's what Ernest taught us. All of this is one system, one life, one love. And when we tap into it, we can succeed beyond our wildest dreams. Now, once we've gotten that, then we put the manure in. That means all the bad stuff that we don't want in there, we just got to turn it over, look at it, understand it, see what its purpose is, and allow it to do its thing. It's only bad because we've labeled it as such. Whatever we call good and bad is because we, as a people, have agreed to call it that, so it makes sense when we communicate. But that's just an arbitrary term. We know in the beginning, God said, I created everything, and guess what? Everything is good. There was no bad. That was someone with a limited mind of thinking, trying to understand an infinite mind of possibilities. And when we can do this magic, we're good. Now you fertilize the soil, you even it out. And then once you put your plants down, we know about it real good in Colorado and in any cold place, you have to put some mulch around your plants to protect it. Something that's going to let you focus on that. Not, stay focused. So I'll mulch it. I'll make sure I maintain the moisture, maintain the inspiration so that we can live a life that's grand. Now, there's this famous person called Anonymous. I know y'all have heard me talk about him before. He says this: life is a series of processes. Embrace the chaos. In the process of learning, we discover our true potential. Success is a result of progressive small steps, process overcome, focus on the present moment, embrace the process, for it is what shapes us. People walking around trying to get out of life, they just want to go sit on the beach. Now, sitting on the beach is good. I love the beach. I'm from Florida. But that ain't life. That should not be your lasting, attainable goal, is to go sit on the beach. We have to begin to say life is for living, of service, of joy, of love, to cultivate that. We got and we got plenty of manure going around right now to furnish an orchard that is equal to anything in the ancient world. So when are we gonna get when we gonna get to work? When we gonna stop waiting for somebody else to do what we can do for ourselves? We know where two or more are gathered, God is in the center of that. Which means we got power and principalities that we can bring to bear if you but believe. If you but believe. And so I'm going to give you 3 things to help you become a master gardener. Because that's what we're needed. We need master gardeners right now. There's so much I could say. There's so much I want to say. I just ain't got enough time to tell you about where we are in this space and time in the universe right now. Because we are being called to a higher, you know, I was thinking when I was getting ready to put this together, and I thought about a couple of things. I thought about Star Trek. One thing, Captain Kirk, Master Gardener, that's just a metaphor for that. Whenever he got ready, he came up with an image in his mind, what they were going to explore, what they were going to learn. And once that was set, and the word was engage. Engage. Get the engine right, the light right, the folk, whatever needs to get right, get it right, and engage, because that's what life is about, engaging. Not just resting is just one aspect of a whole spectrum. That ain't the goal. We got to do it. So the first thing we have to do to create that, we have to take a soil sample. Good agronomist takes a soil sample. They look to see, do I have the right pH balance to grow sugar cane or watermelons or green beans or whatever it is? They need to know, because either if it's not made for that, then guess what? Not that you can't do it. It might be a little bit more effort than you want to put in the game. So then you start saying, what will grow in this soil? And if I need to augment this soil, what do I need to put in it? Because now I got options, I got possibilities. But you got to take a soil sample. And that soil obviously is your consciousness. What is in your consciousness that you may be trying to grow, but the environment is not right? The pH balance, your people you're hanging with, the stuff you're reading, the things you're watching, the soil may not be right. And the only way you can do that is you have to be aware. You have to take inventory. You got to understand that, prime example, if you bring cookies around me, that's a problem. But I like cookies, and I know they don't like me, but I have to be aware of my environment so that I bring them in limitedly or not at all for a while. You know, there's never a nothing, right? So you got to work through the process, as we just said. But you have to be aware and understand if your soil is fertile or barren. If it's barren, we got to work with it. We got to cultivate it. That's what an agronomist does. The second thing we do after we take the soil sample, we have to figure out what's needed to grow a garden. I done did the soil sample, I got great soil. Now, what does it take to grow a garden? Well, you need some tools, you need some seeds, you might need some more fertilizer, depending on what's happened with the soil. But at the end of the day, you have to get your stuff together. You have to be there and put it in place so that you're ready to go. Now, Gene Houston says this. Gene Houston says that just as you would not neglect seeds that you planted with hope, that they will bear fruits, vegetables and fruits and flowers, so much you attend to the nourishing the garden of your becoming. So we got the soil ready. Now you got to tend to the garden. You got to get your tools. You got to get the stuff that you need to make a garden grow. And when you do that, you have to be thoughtful. You got to be conscious. And then there's the last. You know, I always say the last for the worst for the last. However they say that. You got to do some work. Somebody got to go dig. Somebody got to go weed. Somebody got to go water. That's how that happens. That's how you come up with a garden. You see now, you'll see them all over the place. You'll see these magazines with gardens, with the plot all laid out. What seeds I'm gonna put in what place, because they've already paid attention to the sun. They know where to get the most sun on this side and that side if you don't have direct sunlight, right? If you're not constantly involved in conscious things, and we're being bombarded by all the craziness that's going on. I got to make sure I got my garden laid out, because that way I can go and close some stuff down. That's what it means. What does it take to get your garden? Ernest Holmes says this: We are bound by nothing except belief. All that spirit is and has and does is accessible to everyone. Belief in limitation is the only thing that limits us. When I'm planting my garden, I'm planting with great confidence that my seed's gonna grow. I need to know what it takes to grow a good garden. How to enrich the soil, how to add things to it, how to pay attention. And now there's a thing, and this is a good one. People have gardens, and to make sure that they grow, they go buy ladybugs, and they go buy bees, and they go buy butterflies, and just put them in the air. These images, these insects, these signs of cultivation, creativity, lightness, spiritualness, working. Another homework assignment. I'm so full today. Go home and do a study on all 301 on what ladybugs, bumblebees, and butterflies do to keep this planet alive. To keep you and me eating and breathing. Then you'll begin to say, ooh, I need to get me some butterflies or something. Because life is prime. Life is prime. Now, once we understand what it needs to grow, we've cultivated the soil, now the real work happens. You have to become a master gardener. You got to go to work. There is no substitute for hard work. Let me just say it like that. There's no substitute for that. You look at anybody in life that you admire, that you think is great or whatever. You know, they may be, if they're entertaining, they may be flashy or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you talk to all of them, they'll tell you, I had to work my butt off. I had to work my butt off, because without it, there's nothing that's going to separate me from someone that just not taking it seriously. That's what the master teacher, Jesus, taught us. These things I can do, you can do it too. But you got to practice. You got to believe. You got to want to be engaged in a life of oneness, of wholeness, of togetherness. Dare I say the word diverse? Because that's life. That's what life. Every plant in the garden creates life that grows together. So we have to start to become master gardeners. We have to start with intention, visualization, practice, and trust. Trust in an unseen force, an unseen law. We say we're spirituality advocates. There are no visible spiritual laws. They're all unseen, but we see them by the practice of them, by applying them in our lives, by moving in a way that there is no doubt there is a law called gravity. Nobody's climbing on buildings saying gravity doesn't exist, I'm jumping off, because no. That's an invisible law that is always in effect, whether you know it or not. So we better become masters so we can know it, so we can know how to use it, so we can know when, you know. I got all my favorites today. One of my favorite songs is that song. I'm gonna just sing a verse. I bet you know it. You got to know when to hold them, and you got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to walk away. You got to know when to run. There'll be no counting of your money while you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the deal is done. When we've checked out of here, deal is done. You ain't getting no more cards. We have to be real about this. You want to look back, and you want others to look back at your life and say, like in the beginning, that ancient gardener sitting in that ancient garden that's created a masterful life, and people are looking at it trying to determine, how do I grow a garden just like that? Einstein said this: only one who devotes himself to a cause with his whole strength and soul can be a true master. For this reason, Mastery demands all of a person. It demands all of you. So as we begin to pay attention and begin to become the masters of our garden and understanding the soil, I want us to know that this is a time for celebration and sharing. That's what springtime is. That's what Easter is. That's what Earth Day is. That's what Arbor Day is. That's what all these holidays that are in this month, they're coming up in a few days. Arbor Day for trees and Earth Day for protecting the unity and oneness of this place, and Easter for resurrection, and all of this is what life is about. And you have to engage, because without it, it ain't no fun. It ain't worth living. So let's continue to understand that, to move in that direction. And if I can get that last slide by Ernest Holmes, if I didn't mess myself up. No, go. Oh, I messed it up. Oh, there it. Oh, I messed it up. See, I knew it. That's all right. Don't worry about it. I'll remember, which says, as you think, so shall you become. As you continue to think, so shall you remain. So as we cultivate this ongoing process in this close, each step enriches our lives, our inner life, allowing us to manifest divine possibilities to their fullest. The process of encouragement, self-growth, self-wealth, all these things are inside of our hearts, minds, and souls. And as we cultivate and allow God to be God, this too and so much more will we receive, and so it is. So it is, amen. And so, as always, call to actions. I messed up Diego, he brought him because I was messed up. But anyway, we're going to straighten it out. We got time right now to plan our garden. So the first thing is start a garden or a flower bed and journal about what you learned in that process. Get close to the earth. Get close to the spirit. This is what it's a mirror. The second thing is identify any weeds in your consciousness, negative self-talk, limited beliefs, old grudges, and begin to release them to plant your new garden. And the affirmation to just anchor all this in to keep us on the path. I am one with the infinite possibilities of spirit. My soil is rich, my roots are deep, and my growth is inevitable. And so it is. And so it is now that time for conscious and sacred giving. This spring, our intention is to grow this community, and we can't do it without you. So your time, treasure, talents, everything, money is needed to keep this idea alive as we step into spring to grow. So there are many different ways you can give. You can pass in the bucket. You can send a pay check or money out to the P.O. box. Text to give. It's all running across the bottom of the screen. But please give so we can be a difference in the world that needs beautiful gardens. So if you place your hand over your heart and repeat our affirmation, this perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive, and so it is, amen. And so it is, amen. And Alice is going to come and give us some announcements.
And yes, we have a lot of announcements today. Sorry. It's spring. We're flowing over. So we still have some issues of the March-April Science Mind magazine. They're available for $7. And then we will have the new ones out in the next couple of weeks. And after service today, we have our meditation and coffee social. So grab some drinks and something to eat, and we'll circle up and just do a little short meditation and then just have a discussion. And then let's see, mark your calendars for Sunday, April 27th, our monthly community cafe. to celebrate Earth Day, Teresa Cardenas and Barbara Shalau. From Earth Matters Now, we'll share tips on how to heal Earth one action at a time. We'll discuss the 6 R's: refuse, reduce, refuse, reduce, reuse, repair, recycle, and rot. Yes. So learn some simple swaps and gain insight that will motivate us to take the next steps. So we'll be meeting, and that's the week that we don't record this. So you need to come live and bring something to share to eat, and we'll just eat and learn about some earth tips. And we've got our upcoming class, Sacred Astrology. We had a date change on that, so we've moved it out a little bit. And it's on Wednesdays online, and it starts on April 23rd. And it's $125 per person, credit, cash or credit only. And we are going to have a Friends and Family Day on Sunday, May 4th at 10 a.m. So our normal service, but it's May the 4th be with you, and may you bring your friends and family. And as Giselle wrote up from the Cheers song, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name and they're always glad you came. I'm not going to sing this. You want to be where you can see troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name. And so isn't that one of the great things about Sundays at CSL Denver? Everybody knows your name, and we love to share and be with you. We're also starting a curiosity corner. So we're going to have a setup. People are going to bring, a lot of us have like oracle cards and books and CDs and DVDs that we want to make available, so for a low price to help support CSL Denver. So please come for that, and we will have, let's see, I guess that's kind of it. So bring a friend. And if you would like to hear some good news of the world to affirm the good in the world, we have a link on our Facebook page called And Now the Good News. This program is put together by New Thought Media Network and airs on Fridays at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Or you can watch these anytime. So you can go to our CSL, the Center for Spiritual Living Denver Facebook page and click on any of the links. And there's just some wonderful, heartwarming stories that there is good news. So we know it. We're going to affirm it and know that. And let's see, New Thought Media Network has over 40 hours, well over 40 hours of different things. Morning and evening prayers. Reverend Elzia and Dr. Robert Brzezinski have a program at 2 o'clock on Tuesdays, and they also have a program at 7 o'clock on Friday mornings. Let's see, ministers. Talking sugar. Yeah, ministers talking sugar. So there's a lot of Spanish programs and all of that. So there's lots there. We are so truly blessed by everyone who has chosen to support CSL Denver by showing up on Sundays or watching our services online. We know that as we move through the rest of this year, the Divine Beloved is guiding and loving each and every one of us. Thank you for joining us. And now let's close out with Karen Drucker singing I Am So Grateful.
Hey, I'm so